Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Hi, welcome to session 4 of our podcast on nature spirits. Today's topic is about nature spirits and the environment.
Dory, how do nature spirits play a role in maintaining a healthy environment on our planet?
The nature spirits are critical to maintaining a healthy environment on the planet. And the spirits of nature are calling to us repeatedly and constantly to participate with them in maintaining a healthy environment on planet Earth. The spirits of nature are actually working overtime and have been for quite some time because humans are not playing their part in that important role. For instance, the trees that still exist on this planet are having to do a lot of extra work to maintain a healthy air because of the pollutants that we are putting out, and also because we have decimated so many trees on the planet, for instance, in the Amazon. So the spirits of nature are engaged 24/7 around the globe in maintaining and also healing the environment on this planet. At one time, they could just work at maintaining because humans worked with them. There are fewer and fewer humans as time has gone on who are working with the spirits of nature to maintain. Therefore, the nature spirits are having to not just maintain but also heal. The more humans step up to the plate and begin to recognize that the environment and the health of the environment is a number one priority for the longevity of the planet, the more we will be able to restore and recover what was at one time a very, very healthy environment. I love it that today, in today's world, the current Pope, who would have ever thought the Pope would be making impassioned pleas to humans to take responsibility for the climate, for the health of our environment, that to not do so is a sin in his language. That is a very positive sign that hopefully will begin to get us to the tipping point where there are more humans collaborating with the spirits of nature to bring health and harmony to the health of this planet.
How can we connect and communicate with nature spirits so that we can help heal the planet?
That actually is pretty easy. For most people, what it means is open the door and step outside. Begin to communicate with whatever is growing and living outside of your door. Whether it's a squirrel, if you live in the city, a pigeon, a seagull, a tree in the local park, or a weed growing up out of the sidewalk. There is something alive, not to mention the air and the clouds and the sun and the wind, the ground that you are walking on. All of those beings have a spirit. The more you begin to recognize and honor and communicate with what is alive around you that is not human. Of course, we do communicate with humans. I'm not excluding them, but we're talking specifically here about nature spirits. The more you do that, the more you will help heal the planet. Because by recognizing that we are not alone, we are not the supreme beings, we are not the answer to all of life here on the planet. We are collaborating with all of these spirits, all of these beings that are alive here with us in this time. The more we recognize that, and the more of us that recognize that, the more we will begin to seriously make some positive strides in the direction of healing this planet. All you have to do is open the door and walk outside. Pay attention.
Sometimes it feels like nature spirits are taking the first step and are wanting to connect with us. How can we tell when that is happening? And are they giving us a task to help them with healing the environment?
Yes, it's a really good sign that you're noticing that the spirits of nature are sometimes reaching out to you. That means you're paying attention. And absolutely, yes, the spirits of nature will reach out to you, and they're asking to be acknowledged. They're asking for you to pay closer attention, and they may be asking you to collaborate in some way in some healing activity. What exactly that is, of course, I can't possibly know sitting here, but what I can say is what is important is for you to open yourself up to that moment. And for instance, let's say you're out at the tree that we talked about in another session, and you're leaning up against the tree and you're gazing at some branches, and there isn't a smidgen of a breeze in the air, and yet as you communicate with this tree, one of the branches begins to shake as if it's nodding yes to you or no to you. That is a way for you to pay attention to this tree is actually really communicating with you. What is it asking you? So now, in your heart, you need to begin having some kind of a communication with this tree, because it is clearly calling out to you to communicate with it. In shamanism, of course, what we would say is do a journey to the spirit of the tree and ask, what is it the tree would like from me? What is it communicating with me about? Is there something it is asking me to do? If you don't know how to do a shamanic journey, and you don't know anybody who can teach you how to do a shamanic journey, then I would suggest that you just sit and deeply meditate with the spirit of that tree and ask to be given a message of what it is this tree is looking for from you. How is it asking you to collaborate with it for the purpose of healing the planet, or for the purpose of healing you or the tree or some other being that is nearby?
The Pope says that it's a sin to put monetary profits ahead of the health of the planet. What are your thoughts about this?
Yes, we just talked about the Pope. I just mentioned the Pope a moment ago. I'm astonished, actually, that in this time that we have a Pope sitting at the head of the Catholic Church who is talking very openly about this. I absolutely, unquestionably agree with him. I wouldn't use the terminology sin. That's not something that is in my language, but I would say that it is a tragedy and a travesty and a mortal wound to the planet and all its beings when we put monetary profit, when big corporations benefit from actions, from products, from other things that actually damage the planet rather than help feed and restore the health of the planet. I absolutely agree with that. It is a tragedy, and it is something that we as humans need to pay attention to. We only have this one planet, and we may be sending people out into outer space. It will be hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years before humans could adapt to live on another planet. And why would we want to? We have this beautiful planet, this one Earth. And if we put ourselves in a position of being committed to the health of this planet, we don't have to think about going to another planet 100 or 1,000 or 2,000 years from now. We have this one planet. If we could walk away from greed and selfishness and the need to have more and more and more, and ignore the sanctity of all beings, if we could set that aside and begin acknowledging and celebrating and honoring all of life and putting that first, then we will be making tremendous steps in the direction of healing the planet. And yes, to not do that, to actually deliberately do harm to any being that is alive, including Mother Earth, is a crime. It is an absolute crime, and it needs not to happen. The more we wake up as individuals, the more we will be able to put an end to that kind of crime.
Dowsers talk about a vortex or vortices in geographical areas and environments, and there are areas where nature definitely has more potency or strength. How does this different kind of valence in an environment impact nature spirits? And vice versa, how do the nature spirits impact or help create vortices and areas with special strengths?
From my perspective, I believe that these vortices in various geographic areas on the planet have been created by a series of events and the lives of various beings, human and non-human. We do know that there is a magnetic pull or draw that creates the energetic field in various areas, like we talked about another time recently about, Sedona. There are other places on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, similar kind of vortices, and other places like Finhorn, where there is definitely a huge vortex. So the spirits of nature collaborate with that magnetic force or pull or whatever it is that exists there that is measurable. And they take advantage of that and create stronger connections with humans who visit these areas. They're able to reach out more deeply, and humans are more open to opening their hearts. For instance, people who visit Sedona who aren't even really very schooled or aware of the vortices that exist there are still very much impacted by the energetic field of being in that place. As a result, the spirits of nature there are able to open up to them more, and the humans are able to open up to the nature spirits more. I actually was just thinking about this the other day. About my first visit to Sedona was many years ago, long before I knew anything about shamanism. And I was aware of the environment and very careful about the environment. Nonetheless, I went on a sacred site tour with a woman who lived there in Sedona. She was a local person. And we were walking on this land, and as we approached a particular area, there were some ants on the ground, and she stopped us in our tracks and said, "Okay, step aside here. Let's make room for the ant people." And that was exactly her language, the ant people. And I was struck by that. I was like, the ant people? What? At the moment, I was struck by her intense regard for these ants that were at our feet and not wanting to damage them, not wanting to walk on them. And I recognized in that moment how important it was to pay attention to the smallest of beings when we walk on the earth. And I believe that I had that experience because I was in this place where the spirits of nature are so accessible because of the vortex. And so I urge people, when they know they're in a place where these vortices exist, to open their heart, which will be easier because of the vortex, and pay attention, really, really close attention to how the spirits of nature are reaching out and grabbing you practically in order to communicate with you more distinctly and more clearly. The animals, the abundance of animals in the places where there are vortices, and the way they behave and move around, and in some cases communicate with humans who are there, is pretty astonishing. And so, in summary, what I would say is that the nature spirits are more accessible to us, and we, as a result of being in that area, are more able to access the nature spirits. It's a place where there's an opening for that to happen.
This completes the questions. Do you have anything that you would like to add?
Thank you for these great questions. I would simply like to add at the end of this series a note, a reminder to everybody to pay attention, go outdoors, celebrate everything that surrounds you. Be a part. The nature spirits are not separate from us. We are very much a part of them, and they a part of us. And I look forward to talking with you again sometime soon on the next topic, which will be revealed by my helping spirits sometime in the next couple of weeks. Look forward to seeing you and talking with you again.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on Shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes, or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.